The self-proclaimed happy-face killer appears in Clark County Court. Jesperson gave grisly details of how he killed 23-year-old Tanya Bennett.
Her father was a serial killer.
My name is Melissa Moore, and my dad is a serial killer.
Nicknamed the Happy Face.
Happy-face.
The Happy Face Killer, serving multiple life sentences for murdering 8 women across 6 states in the 90s. Kind of easy to do.
The Paramount Plus series Happy Face is based on the horrific true story of Keith Hunter Jesperson, the serial killer known as the Happy Face Killer, and the emotional wreckage he left behind, especially for his daughter, Melissa Moore. While the show adds dramatized events, the heart of the narrative, including many of the most chilling scenes, is grounded in real, devastating history. Keith Jesperson was a long-haul truck driver who murdered at least 8 women between 1990 and 1995. He got his nickname after signing anonymously confession letters with a hand-drawn smiley face, and his first victim was 23-year-old Tanya Bennett. Jesperson lured her into his rental home, assaulted and strangled her, but what's even more disturbing is 2 completely innocent people were arrested for Tanya's murder. This is Laverne Pavlenik, a woman stuck in an abusive relationship with her boyfriend John Sosnowski. Laverne falsely confessed in a desperate attempt to escape her partner, as she would do anything not to be trapped in that relationship.
A trial date was set for 57-year-old Laverne Pavlenik.
Jesperson couldn't handle the idea of someone else getting credit for his crime, and he crawled a confession on a public restroom wall, saying, "I killed Tanya Bennett, January 21st, 1990. 2 people got the blame, and I'm free." Soon after, he started sending long detailed letters to the police and local newspapers, describing how he murdered 5 women, right down to the dates and methods. He wanted recognition but not capture, and in one letter he wrote to the Oregonian newspaper. It explained, "I don't want to be caught, I just want to be seen." He ended those letters with a simple hand-drawn smiley face, and just like that, the Happy Face Killer was born. Even after his arrest, Jesperson showed no regret. In interviews and prison writings, he spoke about his murders as if they were nothing. One quote that stands out is,
"I meant to kill her to cover up the assault."
You say it very matter-of-factly, with no remorse.
He said that murder is just a thing he did.
It is matter of fact that that's what it is.
Melissa Moore was just a child when her father was secretly killing women, and to her, he was actually a great dad. He was fun, affectionate, and larger than life. At their home with their Mother Rose hug, it felt safe and even loving.
You know how to whistle, don't you, Steve? You just put your lips together and blow.
Then came the cheating though. Rose started getting calls from strange women ringing the house phone and asking to speak to Keith.
I said, "Who is this?" And he goes, "Oh, I'm Keith's girlfriend." I said, "Well, I'm his wife."
Eventually Rose packed all the 3 kids though, and moved more than 200 miles up north to Washington, into her mother's house. The children slept in the basement, and Melissa was only 10 years old at the time. Keith Jesperson would stop by during trucking runs and visit his family whenever he could. However, the visits started to feel a little bit off. Jesperson would make strange, inappropriate comments, somewhat lifted word for word as seen in the show.
Talk about his explicit sex life to me, details that I wouldn't want to know.
And even at one point, he explained that he knew how to commit the perfect murder.
My father said, "I know how to kill someone and get away with it."
Jesperson was officially linked to 8 murders, though he claimed that he had killed over 160. The true number is still unknown. His first victim, Tanya Bennett, was murdered in 1990 in Oregon. Jesperson lured her into his place and ended up strangling her. Not long after came Claudia Ann Savage, a woman who went missing in California. Jesperson claimed that he strangled her and dumped her body, although her remains weren't discovered until long after. Cynthia Lynn Rose, 34, was a sex worker whose body was found at a truck stop in California in 1992. Keith Jesperson later claimed that she climbed into his truck while he was sleeping. When he woke up and found her there, he then strangled her with a rope. Another one of his victims was Lori Ann Penteland.
Did you choke all of the women?
Yes, I did, yeah.
Angela Sabriz was 21 and was hitchhiking through California when Jesperson picked her up. He gained her trust over a few days and then took her into a remote forest, assaulted her, and killed her. Then came the final named victim, Julie Ann Winningham, who was 41 and currently his girlfriend after he had experienced a divorce with Rose. Jesperson claimed that he killed her in order to save her from her spiraling life. She had 2 DUIs and was in deep debt, but he later admitted that this was just an excuse and his compulses got the better of him.
If you hadn't confessed to Julie's murder, do you think you would have ended up murdering more women?
Probably, yes.
Police found a receipt with Jefferson's name near the body and brought him in for questioning, which at first he denied absolutely everything. However, strangely enough, the very next day he called the police himself and that he did the murder. What they didn't know was that he had already mailed a full confession to his brother, detailing every murder as well as where he'd hid the bodies. He even explained in the letter where Tonya Bennett's purse was hidden. However, when he got into prison, he called his brother in a panic and begged him to burn the letter, but instead his brother handed it over to authorities that sealed Jefferson's fate. In court, he described each murder in terrifying detail with chilling calm.
And forced my fist into her throat and later grabbed the rope and tied it around her neck securely.
Back in Washington, Melissa and her siblings were still living in their grandma's basement when they found out. Just like in the show, Melissa's mother turned to the kids and said that their father was in jail for murder, and then silently walked back up the stairs. Rose banned all media coverage of Jesperson in the house, trying to shield the kids from what had happened.
I banned all newspapers. I banned magazines.
Melissa only visited her dad in prison twice. The first time was shortly after this arrest. He told her that she should change her last name to avoid any trouble or stigma in the future. To Melissa, this felt like a quiet, almost casual confession of guilt. But just because Jefferson was behind bars, this didn't end the story at all. In fact, it continued getting extremely disturbing.
To how far my dad could go, and he broke every limit that I thought was there.
As an adult, Melissa met somebody in church named Sam Moore. Sam Moore and herself fell deeply in love, and before they got married, she had to sit him down and tell him the truth. She explained to Sam that her dad is a serial killer, and explained all of the heinous things he had done. Sam didn't flinch, but his family, they were terrified. Eventually they got to know Melissa, and they welcomed her with open arms. Melissa and Sam had 2 kids together, the older daughter named Aspen, and her little brother Jake. More than a decade after his arrest, Jefferson was still writing Melissa letters. Eventually she agreed to one final visit in order to bring closure. The problem is, there was a horrific miscommunication error within the prison that she had agreed to go visit him at.
We anticipated meeting him behind a plexiglass wall, orange suit, phone.
She asked the prison staff if there was a safe space where her children could wait during the visit, but they completely misunderstood her.
They say they never intended for them to see their grandfather behind bars.
Instead of the prison arranging a safe place for the children to be kept out of all of this, the prison accidentally arranged a full family meeting.
There was a child center there, but the child center was where children could play with their parents that are imprisoned.
Jefferson got to meet his grandchildren, as well as Melissa again, and meet Sam for the first time.
And there were armed guards, and I then realized that we were going to meet my wife's father in person.
A photo was taken, and Melissa and Sam are smiling nervously in it, but when Aspen got scared of her grandfather's presence, the visit then ended, and they never went back. Jefferson, however, consistently kept sending letters. Most were weird or rambling about the murders. However, one came through that completely changed everything.
Since his arrest in '95, he's written me letters consistently.
Inside was a drawing of Melissa, completely naked. He wrote, "Your husband sees you like this, but I still see you as my little girl." This was the final line for Melissa. She stopped reading any of his letters completely, and now Sam throws them away, unopened when they arrive through the door. She explained, "He's gone from my life. The dad that I loved, he's gone."
There's never a day that I will want to read them. And so they're gone.
We make lots of other videos about real stories behind horror films and horror shows, so hit the like button and subscribe if you want to see more. Until next time, horror lovers, peace.